Hi guys, welcome along to Zwift. Welcome along to Zwift Running. In 10 seconds, we are going to start a progressive 10k run. Here we go. Follow along. So we're away and we're starting around about 11 kilometers per hour, and we will gradually increase as the run goes on. Each kilometre will get a little bit faster. We have our team run leader, who is Tim. And Tim has a yellow beacon over his head. If you are regularly watching cycling races on Zwift Community Live, then you'll know that the ride leader has a beacon. So it's the same with running. On Zwift, the run leader has a beacon. So we're all going to follow him. I'm going a little bit slowly at the moment, so I need to catch up. Looks like we've got a good crowd this evening. And we're live on the Zwift Facebook page. If you've never seen Zwift before, welcome along. If you've never seen Zwift running before, this is what it's all about. Get yourself a foot pod, get on a treadmill. Let's get those numbers up on Zwift Running. There's the beacon, that's Tim. That's me in the white with the black shorts and the cool sunglasses. I am nothing if not very cool. Or maybe not. If you've got any questions, I am looking at Facebook chat. There are a lot of you online tonight, so I can't promise I'll respond to every question. But if you do get the questions over to me, I'll have a look. I'll try and glance at my laptop, which is over here on my right, and we'll see what we can do. And there's already loads of people saying hi, so hello to everyone. So we're on the London course today. On the left hand side is the Tower of London. Not that modern building you just saw. If you were in the real London, you would see it on the left. This is, if you were running the London Marathon, I think you're about 20 miles in, possibly. Something like that. You're certainly on the way back now. You've done the hard bit of the London Marathon if you're on this section of the course. And you've got, I think it's about 6 miles to go. That's Tim there in the yellow top. So Tim should tell us every kilometre, hopefully, if he's able to type on his iPad, how much we're going to increase by each kilometre. So we've done about 600 metres so far. And as we go through the run, I'll try and answer some questions. I'll explain a little bit about what Zwift is, what Zwift running is, I know a lot of you will know about Zwift cycling, so I hope I'm not teaching you to suck eggs in terms of connection and all those kind of things, but we'll have to go through it for people who don't know. Jim says he's new to Zwift, first time he's seen running, thinks it's very cool. Do you know what? The immediate thing about Zwift running is that it just makes running on a treadmill so much more pleasurable. If you have to run on a treadmill, I know a lot of people hate it, don't they? A lot of people call it the dreadmill. Thanks for the ride on, Georgie. A lot of people call it the dreadmill and they hate it. But listen, if you can immerse yourself in the environment of Zwift, if you've got a big TV screen it helps, but if you can immerse yourself in that environment, you can kind of forget sometimes that you're running on a treadmill, and especially if you've got people to run with. Okay, so Tim now says 11.6. He's missed the decimal out, but he always does that because it's easier to type. So 116, 11.6 kilometers an hour. I'm already going fairly near that anyway, so I'll just bump it up a little bit. Joel says he started cycling on Zwift back in November, really loves it. Running looks awesome, he says. And Phil says, hang on, where are the bikes? Do you know what? Runners are slowly creeping onto Zwift now. And there are some times when, honestly, it does look like there are more runners than cyclists. Some of the group runs we've had recently, there are loads of runners. And it will grow, it will continue to grow as Zwift makes running available to the masses. Do you know what? Running has been a kind of hidden feature of Zwift for a year now. And people like Tim and me, we've been running on Zwift all that time, kind of just helping the team out with some of the problems. You know, it's a new technology. You're always going to get a few issues here and there. And we've been kind of, via the Facebook page, helping to iron those issues out. And we're almost at a stage now where Zwift are seriously considering making it more publicly available. And that's why we're doing events like this. Simon says, you guys are quite quick. Well, thank you very much. I wouldn't say we're overly quick. We will increase the pace bit by bit as we go through. But, you know, like in cycling, you can tell how hard somebody's working by the heart rate top left. So if you look on the main screen, top left, my heart rate says 145-ish BPM. And that's the zone 3, which is kind of tempo zone. So it means your heart rate is up a bit, it's working. But we're not killing it. We're not going overly fast yet. Lots of things to talk about on Zwift running today. Lots of things we need to tidy up, clear up, talk about. Lots of questions that we get asked on the Zwift Runners Facebook page, which you kind of need to address over the next 45 minutes or so. So the first thing, somebody's saying, will ERG mode ever be available on running? But we need to talk about incline, and we need to talk about treadmills and Bluetooth connections and auto control of treadmills, just to get that out of the way for a minute. At the moment, on Zwift Running, there is no elevation, no incline. So some of you guys who use the bikes, and you've got your Kicker, your Tacx Neo, your Smart Trainer, when you go up a hill, you feel that hill because the resistance changes on your bike. But some of you are on what we call dumb trainers, trainers that are not connected to the computer, and your speed and distance are judged by a cadence sensor attached to the wheel and the pedals. So running is the same as that, really. No Bluetooth treadmill links to Zwift as yet. We're not saying that's not going to change necessarily. We just don't know yet. There's stuff to work out. At the moment, the only way to connect to Zwift is using a FootPod, or there's something called a tread tracker which you can stick under the treadmill, which broadcasts a Bluetooth signal. There's certain chest straps that you can use, like the Ticker X, which broadcast Bluetooth. But the main way is using a FootPod. There are treadmills that broadcast in Bluetooth. There are treadmills that actually are picked up by Zwift and can be used as a speed source, but none of them can be automatically controlled by Zwift to increase the incline of the treadmill automatically. It's something that I know is being discussed and thought on, worked on, but as yet, when we run up a hill, unless you manually do the incline on your treadmill, you won't feel it. And of course, Zwift could introduce something like Z-Power, to kind of automatically slow you down when you go uphill and speed you up when you go downhill. That's a consideration, that's a possibility. But again, if you want to do hill training, you're not actually going to feel that in your legs as a hill. So it's the first thing to think about. Tim's now saying we go up 0.3 kilometres every kilometre. 0.3 kilometre an hour every kilometre. Thank you for the ride on John Hancock. John Hancock has been another stalwart of Zwift running so far. Saturday morning runs, run in the park. If you've heard of park run in the real world, well, John has organised for about a year Run in the Park, which is kind of equivalent to park run on Zwift on a Saturday morning. So if you'd like to do that, get yourself signed up for Run in the Park. Excuse me while I look at the computer again. Yeah, people asking about FootPods. So, the cheapest, most basic FootPod you can buy is the Milestone Bluetooth FootPod. That will get you up and running, literally. It's a budget option, but it does what it says on the tin. It'll get you running. You can calibrate your FootPod on Zwift, so you can at least make sure that you are vaguely near the correct speed, the correct distance. But the FootPod that most people agree is the FootPod to use if you can spare the expense, if you can afford it, and if running on the treadmill is going to be something you do regularly. Then you're looking at the Stryd FootPod, STRYD, stryd.com if you want to go and have a look. They produce a FootPod which broadcasts not only in Bluetooth but in ANT Plus as well. I'll explain those again in a second, ANT Plus and Bluetooth. But it retails quite a bit much more than the average FootPod. You could get a Garmin standard Ant Plus foot pod in the UK for about £40 to £50, $60, $70 US. But the Milestone is around about $25, £20 UK, something like that. So it's up to you. You can play about really. Get the budget option, see what you think, and then upgrade to the Stride when you feel you're ready. The thing about Stride is it utilises a new kind of running thing called running power. And like cycling, although cycling is real power, the Stride foot pod estimates your power output. And that's useful as another way to determine how hard you're working in your training sessions and when you're racing. So not only are you getting a good, accurate foot pod, but you're also getting running power. Yeah, and Ryan Downey has just put the link up for the Milestone foot pod and for the Stride foot pod. Thanks, Ryan. So we've done nearly 3 kilometres, and Tim has just said 12.2. So we're going up to 12.2 now. A little bit faster. You'll note, by the way, because I'm chatting to you, I'm not paying a great deal of attention. As long as I'm running with the main body of runners, I'm quite happy. And Tim always tells me off for this, because he says I never read the instructions of each run. And there have been occasions when I've completely missed out. Let's say we're doing an interval session, for example, where you run slow for a bit and then fast for a bit and then slow again. I've been known to completely miss those out and wonder what the heck's going on. So I apologise to Tim. And when I'm chatting away, I often find it quite difficult to concentrate on the job in hand in terms of running. Sean Peterson says awesome. It is cool. Do you know what? I love it. You know, when would I be in the shed in the bottom of my garden at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock in the evening on a Monday night? No, you wouldn't, would you? You might be at the gym, but Zwift makes it interesting, fun, easier in some ways, because, you know, when you're running on the treadmill, looking at London, running with other people, just makes it a nicer experience and therefore easier. So there's Tim and me, somebody looking remarkably like me just behind with a beard, and I happen to have a bit of a beard tonight, so maybe they're trying to steal me. And also, if you see on the right side there my name, S Cousins, just above me, S Way, that is Steve Way. Welcome along, Steve. Relatively new to Zwift running, but Steve in the UK, if you don't know Steve, if you're from the USA or not from the UK, Steve is an awesome marathon runner. Marathon time of around about 2:15, and he rose to prominence a few years ago when, as a relative unknown runner, he he ran the London Marathon in like 2:16 or something. And if you remove the elite runners from the London Marathon results list, Steve won the London Marathon, essentially. And that catapulted him into the public's awareness in the UK. He's represented Great Britain at the Commonwealth Games, and he's run the 100 kilometre World Championships. So Steve's an ultra runner as well. And he lives down on the south coast in the UK. We often see him in races down here. I live on the south coast as well. Stan says he's going to have to take the day off to run with us one day. It's 11:30 in the morning for him, so hello Pacific coast of the USA. In California or something like that. Thanks for joining us if you're over there. But do you know what though? We did a run yesterday, UK time 9 AM, and we had runners on the east coast of America getting up to run with us at 4 AM. So kudos to them. So I need to catch up a bit, don't I? I've fallen behind, so I just need to up my game a bit. A couple of seconds behind the beacon there of Tim. Peter Littleboy asks, how do you join? So are you asking how you join Zwift? Or how you join a group run? I'll explain both of those. Go to Zwift.com and sign up. You get a free trial. I think it's about 50 kilometres. And that will allow you to cycle on Zwift and to run on Zwift. I have a feeling that running on Zwift doesn't actually use up your free kilometres. I'm not entirely sure, but I know I saw a post the other day about that, and one of the staff at Zwift was saying it is free to run on Zwift. So I'm not sure, but go and sign up, Zwift.com, get your free trial, and then let's explain a bit more about connections to Zwift. If you are on a Mac or a PC, get yourself a FootPod. It can be Bluetooth, but it's a little bit easier if it's an Ant Plus FootPod. So if you do cycling, certainly you've already got a little USB stick that you plug into your PC or your Mac. And then if you've got your Garmin standard FootPod broadcasting in Ant Plus, your USB stick will pick up the signal from your FootPod. And that works on a Mac and a PC. You can also use a Bluetooth FootPod, but you need other equipment for that to convert the Bluetooth signal to an Ant Plus signal, or going through your mobile link on your phone. So you'll need to download the Zwift mobile link. However, if you only have an iPod, an iPad, an iPhone or Apple TV, then you can connect with a Bluetooth FootPod direct to those iOS devices. So if your only access to a treadmill is in the gym, your gym has Wi-Fi, you take your iPad along, as Tim, our run leader, Tim does exactly that. He's in the gym right now on one of the treadmills in the gym with his iPad, and he's connected up using his Stride FootPod. So those are the ways to connect to Zwift. And if you're a cyclist, you know all about that, and it should be easy for you. If you've never done it before, then you know it's fairly straightforward. And then when you've downloaded the mobile link app on your phone, you can look on there at events, and it's very easy to sign up for a group run. Technically, there's not really racing at the moment. I mean, we kind of do race. People speed up and you kind of get first, second and third, but running is in such its early stages yet. We kind of don't really race. Anyway, click on the event you want to join, and it might give you the option of A, B, C or D category, depending on how fast you want to run. It may not, it may just be a whole group altogether. And it'll tell you the time that you start, and when you log on to Zwift, it will have a little link saying join event, and you click on that link and then you're in. So we've done not far off 5 kilometers now. We're nearly halfway through, and my heart rate's nice and steady at 153. 21 minutes I've spent in zone 3, the yellow zone there. You can see just under that we've got steps per minute, 174, and we're going at 4.52 kilometers per hour. No, that's not right. 4 minutes 50 per kilometre. 12.4 kilometres now. We've been running for 24 minutes 20 seconds. John Lloyd says, doing well, Stephen. Keep it up, you make it look so easy. I don't know about that. Right, Kevin Henson confirms no limit on running at the moment. So if you join Zwift for your free trial, there is no limit on running. But there's a 50 kilometre limit on cycling. Monthly fee is around 12. Now, is it pounds or dollars? Somebody correct me here. I think the monthly fee is 12 pounds a month. But it's not very much, guys. If you do a lot of training, cycling and running, and you do find that you need to be on the treadmill a lot, then, or that it's difficult to get out on the road, cycling or running, then it is worth it. It's definitely something that I've loved doing over the past 3 years. Zwift started out 3 years ago, just over 3 years ago. Two guys, John Mayfield, Eric Min, got together. John had an idea, Eric had the capital, and off they went and created Zwift. And it's been growing ever since. So Tim's just said increase the pace. So off we go. Bit faster. So you might see me flicker now into the orange zone, zone 4, which is threshold zone. So my heart's working harder now. And you can see underneath my heart rate are the kilometre splits. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 kilometres so far, and we've kind of sped up each time. Kilometre 3 was a little bit slow for some reason. Loads of people out on Zwift now. Running through Trafalgar Square. There's Nelson's Column, except in Zwift, Nelson's Column doesn't have Nelson on the top. I think it's a squirrel, is it? Or a cyclist anyway. Kevin says, Tim is just up the road, go get. He's 2 seconds ahead, so I'm not too worried. Listen, if it was a flat out race between me and Tim, you know Tim would win. Tim is a fantastic track runner. Has been really, really quick in his time. Well known in the UK. Actually runs the database of official UK athletics runs, races. So if you want to find out what races somebody's done, you go on to runbritainrankings.com or also powerof10.info and search a runner, and you can find out what UK registered licensed races they've done each year. Not all races are UKA licensed, of course, so a runner might have done loads more races that aren't licensed officially, but Tim runs the database for those licensed races. And like I say, very accomplished runner in his own right. Kirk Latham says he must get himself a foot pod. Looks great running indoors. Great tool. Uwe says hello from Germany. Ryan says $15 a month US. Well worth it. So in the US, $15 a month gets you on Zwift after your free trial. So we're in threshold zone now, 155 BPM. Just working a bit harder. 13.2 kilometers an hour. If I was to run a marathon, fully trained on the road, if I was to do London Marathon, this is about the pace I would hope to be going, something like this. I consider myself an ultra runner though. Speed is not really my thing, I have to say. But I'm trying to put in the miles at the moment. And just a bit of a plug for my big race coming up. 2 weeks' time. I'm doing a race in the UK called the Arc of Attrition. It's 100 miles around the Arc of Cornwall. Cornwall is on the south coast of the UK, southwest coast. You might have heard of Land's End. So that way, round the little kind of pointy bit on the end of England, very rugged cliffs, and it's running on the coastal path, 100 miles around that coast, and that's on the 9th and 10th of February. I did it last year in 29 hours and 50 minutes, so I'd like to take at least a couple of hours off that if I can. But you know what, 100 miles is a long way. You never know what's going to happen in that time. And you know, I could fall down and break my ankle, or just twist my leg or something, or could have terrible stomach problems because I'm not eating properly. All sorts of things could happen. Serdar says hello from Turkey. Kirk is asking, are we going to see racing on Zwift? Running racing? Well, yes, I would hope so. Buckingham Palace, by the way, that's the Victoria Monument. So we're at the top of the Mall now. Yes, racing will happen. I think we just need to kind of tidy up a few things to do with how we calibrate pace and distance. Obviously, there's always going to be ways that people can either deliberately or accidentally not set their equipment up correctly. Like in cycling with weight doping, those kind of things. These things do happen. But to some degree, we just have to trust each other. And, you know, what matters, guys, it's about cycling and running. What matters is the training, the enjoyment, the fun aspect that you get out of Zwift. If you get your heart rate up, you're working hard, then until they start giving out serious prizes for races, it doesn't really matter, does it? You know, what matters is outside there when you do the races in the real world. Zwift is a great tool, but we can't take it too seriously. We can't get angry when we see somebody flying past us and we know there's something wrong with their system or their setup, you know, or they're deliberately trying to game the system. We've got to let it go and concentrate on our own work. Concentrate on how hard you're working, whether you're achieving your goals that you set for yourself. If you can honestly say at the end of a run or a race, that you've put in the effort that you wanted to put in at the start. It doesn't have to be 100% effort. Everyone's got goals that they need to achieve, and your run one day may not be an all-out 100% effort. But if you've achieved what you wanted to achieve, and you've done your best, that's what counts. Don't worry about other people too much. So back to racing. Yes, it will happen, and to some degree it is happening now. There are events where people run fast to try and win the race. But it's less of a thing than group running and running together for the social experience and the fun of it, and just to make treadmill running more bearable, more interesting, and dare I say it, something you actually choose to do sometimes. I've certainly done that. I've certainly chosen to run on Zwift. Sometimes I get plenty of outdoor runs. Don't worry about that. I get plenty of elevation in the real world. Matt Orrell says that his shed will be transformed by the end of Q1. Quarter one of this year, I assume. And Kevin says the last time he saw me was at a 70-mile race called the Grim Reaper. Gosh, yeah, that was grim. That was grim. Hard work, that race. Lovely view there of the moon. Tim a bit too far ahead for my liking. Let's catch him up. Heike said I need to increase my cadence a bit. Shall we talk about cadence? So, often you will see it said that the ideal cadence for a runner is 180 steps per minute. And just by chance, I happen to be doing 180 steps a minute right now. But let's not take that too seriously. Generally, the faster you go, the higher your cadence will be. If you slow down, your cadence will slow down. That's generally the way of it. Ideally, your cadence should kind of stay the same for a run. So say for example, you're going on a hilly run, up and down hills. To maintain a good efficient run technique, good running form, what you should really do is shorten your stride length uphill and increase your stride length going downhill, maintaining relatively the same cadence. Now, in the real world, it's probably impossible to achieve, but that's kind of the ideal, because that motion of steadily banging out the steps at the same cadence is helpful for your heart, it's helpful for your breathing. If you can keep those things in check and your form in check, you will conserve energy, and that energy will be available to you later on in your run. Unlike me talking away, using loads of energy, I should just shut up and run. 10 minutes in zone 4 now. This is threshold zone, 163 beats per minute, 420 per kilometre. Rebecca Hennington says Zwift running has been a great find for her. She often finds herself running alone, and so running with people in Zwift has been great. Ingrid says she was only able to join us for 5 kilometres, but she really enjoyed it. Thanks, Ingrid. So any other questions, anything you want to know, that I haven't explained about Zwift running. If you're interested, there are targets you can achieve in Zwift running. So you can achieve XP points for running 10k, 5k, XP points for running a half marathon, and XP points for running a marathon. I'm getting ahead of the guys a bit. So a few of us have run a marathon on Zwift. I'll tell you my little story. Everyone who's regular on here has heard it a million times before. But back in the day, at the beginning of Zwift running, December 2016, I ran a marathon on Zwift. I think it was the first marathon on Zwift running. But since then, they've introduced achievements and XP points. So you now get a little badge if you've run a marathon. Like if you ride 100 miles on a bike, you get reward. So same for running a marathon. So I thought I would try this a few weeks ago. So I got on the treadmill, no worries, try and bang out a marathon on the treadmill, get my marathon badge. All was going all right, a bit tiring. I always find running more tiring on the treadmill than I do in real life. But I got to 41 kilometres. Now, a marathon is 26.2 miles or 42 and a bit kilometres. I was at 41 kilometres and I thought I would type something on the keyboard. Well, I must have had fat fingers, pressed something, the entire app crashed. Zwift gone. It's my fault. I should have just left it alone. I should have just run and finished the marathon. I did finish the marathon on the treadmill itself, but of course I didn't get my marathon achievement badge. And I constantly bang on about it. Since then, before that in fact, somebody ran 50 kilometres on Zwift, which is 31 miles. And literally about a week and a half ago, a lady called Tara Langdon ran, get this, listen up, 160 miles. That's about 256 kilometres, 160 miles on Zwift. She took her 24 hours. She was basically doing a 24-hour charity event, and she logged into Zwift and ran 160 miles in that 24 hours. Now we can all be skeptical, so we did check her out, and in the real world she's finished races before where she's run 130 miles in one day. So running on the treadmill, it's perfectly possible that she could run 160 miles. And the other thing is, the whole thing is on video. The entire 24-hour run was streamed live and recorded on YouTube. So there's no getting away from the fact that she did it. Fantastic effort, awesome effort. We're just coming up to Big Ben and the Houses of Parliament, just up ahead. Mark, there's Big Ben and the Zwift blimp. Mark says, how do hilly courses work for Zwift? Well, I explained earlier on, I'll just touch on it again quickly. There are no hills at the moment in Zwift running. If you want to, you can manually increase the incline when you see the hills coming up in Zwift. I don't do that, and it's not to say that in the future hills won't be incorporated in some way, but I think it's yet to be decided how that's going to happen. You could have a treadmill that automatically increases incline, or you could have an algorithm that slows a runner down as they go up a hill and speeds them up as they go down the hill. But it's not been decided yet. If anyone knows any better than me, then by all means post. And Daddy Walker says, how do you get Zwift to act? I assume you mean how do you get it to work. Again, I've been over this. It's fairly straightforward. Just get a foot pod, a Garmin standard foot pod, a Stride Bluetooth foot pod, Milestone Bluetooth foot pod, connect to a computer using a USB stick, an ANT plus USB stick, or just connect with Bluetooth foot pod direct to your iPhone. Download the Zwift app, sign in, pair your foot pod, and away you go. Also, you can pair a heart rate monitor. That isn't essential to get you running. All you need is the foot pod to get running. Now, am I falling behind the guys again? Let's just speed up a little bit more. Catch up. So, if anybody has joined us who wasn't here at the start, if you're a cyclist, you'll know this. You can see there is one runner, T Gross, that's Tim. He's our run leader. He's got a yellow beacon next to his name and a big yellow beam over his head. We're following him. This is a progressive run. We've only got 700 meters to go to the end. We've been building up. So we started out about 11 kilometers an hour and we built up to around about 14 now. So that's Tim. Behind Tim is Steve Way. Steve Way is a UK elite marathon runner, elite ultra runner. He's fairly new on Zwift, but is very well known in the UK. I'm the one there with the white top, sunglasses. My name's Stephen. Hello. You will see me occasionally here on Zwift Facebook or on the Zwift Community Live. I also broadcast on my own channel, Film My Run. So if you look for Film My Run on Facebook, you'll find me streaming there 2 or 3 times a week. Regular runs, occasional cycle rides. Film My Run is my little thing. I take my camera with me when I go out running in the real world and I film the races that I do. Not all of them, some of them. Ultras, marathons, trail races. So if you go to YouTube and you look up Film My Run, you'll find a lot of my runs there on film, broken down into a 5 to 10 minute film. So you don't have to sit for 4 hours while I run a marathon, don't worry about that. So, still in threshold. 19 minutes in this zone now. So we're working. It's not easy, but we're nearly there. Just over 200 meters left to run. Guys, please join Zwift Running. It's just such a great way to run the treadmill. You'll enjoy it so much. You'll make a whole load of new friends. London Eye in the background there. Another of the big sights of London. If you are running the London Marathon, you are now about a mile from home. You're running this direction that we are running in now, and you've got a mile to go before you reach the finish line. Only 100 meters for us to go, and then we'll get a little bit of ticker tape, and that'll be the end of the run. Thank you so much for joining us, guys. It's been fantastic. Really loved it. We'll do it again. Keep your eyes out on the Zwift Runners page, the Zwift Community Live, and the Zwift Facebook page for any upcoming runs. Get yourself that foot pod and join us. There we are, there's the ticker tape. Oh, is that somebody else? Hang on a minute. I'm not keeping my eye on things. We've got 400 meters to go. We're running 10.5k, clearly. My fault. See, typical of me, isn't it? Not paying attention to the instructions. 10.5 kilometers. So, does this mean we're slowing down now? Back down. Tim's just put up, go at 10. So, 10 kilometres an hour. Chill out time. Recovery time. Warm down, there we go. Johnny Noblet says sprint. Very important at the end of your run, just to let that lactic acid get out of your system. Recovery run, recovery warm down, very important. Tim says thanks all. Thank you everyone, fantastic. I'm just going to slow down a bit, let everyone catch me up because I'm quite a way ahead. So, Steve Way says thanks, ride on. Well done, Steve. Actually, we'll do that for him as well. So what you can do, a ride on is like Kudos in Strava. I can find my mouse. There we are. So we'll give Tim a ride on. Just click the little thumb. Well done. Steve Way, click his little thumb there. My mouse isn't working very well. Click on John Hancock, give him a little ride on. There's Alston. It's just nice way of saying well done to people. Mr. Conradi there, Jens. A lot of these people we run with regularly, but don't feel like this is a little cliquey group. You know, we welcome everybody to run on Zwift. Okay, that'll do. I'll give people a ride on another time. There we are. That is Zwift running. Zwift group running to be precise. Ingrid says, great job Tim for leading. And me for the commentary. Do you know, I'm no Nathan Guerra. Nathan Guerra. I mean, he's a proper commentator, isn't he? I don't really commentate. Well, maybe when we get to races, I might do some actual commentating. At the moment, I just kind of waffle, don't I? Up there ahead, see those 4 funnels? Battersea Power Station. You may have heard of Battersea Dogs Home. That's Battersea Power Station. Let's stop. That's it, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. Really would like to see you again another day. Come and join us on Zwift Running. Let me just show you what happens here. Press menu and you click end run and it'll show us where we've run. There's a little map there, and on the right hand side you can see anyone who's given you a ride on and people you ran with, and at the top just a little synopsis of what you've done. Then you click OK and then you'll save to Strava, to Garmin, various other platforms you can save your run to. That's it, guys. Thank you very much. Take care. We'll see you again another day. Bye bye.